I'm Annetta Papadopoulos with IDEO, and have the pleasure of focusing on demand management, which obviously has a lot of overlaps with the energy efficiency group. Interestingly, we found that our group had two questions. How can we reduce demand at peak times, where it's kind of most impactful? And also at a meta level, how can we really think about reducing demand in the way that we think about our municipal planning and everything else? So we took on both of those, and I'll talk about some highlights of what 2020 looks like to us. So we talked a lot about new urban development and redevelopment, and how we basically encourage incredibly dense and well-connected cities. So things like, think about many more Parises, which would be a good thing. To incent that, one of the things we talked about was having true pricing, so that driving long ways and having a much more suburban model was less popular and less desirable. So having the environmental impact of different energy sources be truly reflected. We also talked about true pricing, which is basically right around the corner of time of use pricing, so that people know that when they use energy at peak times, it costs them more, and giving feedback, both households at a household and neighborhood level, feedback of how much they're using. Once people know how much they're using and how much it's costing them and how they can use less and have cheaper energy, we talked about the very real need, it's been touched on this morning, of storage solutions, with the near-term solution probably being plug-in electric vehicles, and a longer-term solution being smart garages, smart houses. We talked about giving people feedback of tapping into the power of community, both the carrot and the stick approach. Both, if I know how much I'm using compared to my neighbors, that could incent me to use less. And also, if I know that whatever I save could go towards a common good, like I could donate my savings to my school, that can be incentivizing in its own way. So giving that community feedback is vital. We talked about some very real utility level changes that need to be made. Right now, utilities have their rate plans kind of set years in advance, which gives them very little flexibility about how much they charge you, how they can reward good behavior, and how they can allow for this kind of donation model if that was to exist. So how can utilities rethink their offer and the service that they provide? And also a last great point is, in California, we have the benefit of living in a decoupled state, so our utility does not feel disincentivized when you actually use less of their product of energy. What if there was nationwide decoupling as well? And a last plug being that the smart grid today, the belief is that it could power actually 100 million electric vehicles, so a very fast, portable storage source.